I forgot what I normally say. Hello and welcome to Flappity Flap Podcast with your hosts, your inimitable hosts, unimitatable hosts, Brandon and Sarah. One more than the other.
Hi.
You don't even know.
Hi,
You don't even know how to
welcome.
respond to that, do you? Do you want to talk about any things that have happened in the last week, or there I go scratching stuff. Anything
Week?
that has happened? Do you want to do any like personal touches?
Your computer's fixed,
Well,
sort of.
we'll see. It hasn't slept on me yet. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Salt over the left shoulder. What other good luck charms can you do?
Horseshoes, clovers, and
Hang a
blue
horseshoe
moons.
over your door. And what?
What
What was the other thing?
Never mind. It was bad. It was
say.
a lucky
Oh,
charms.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. It's always bad when you have to repeat a thing. I'm sorry.
So what's going on today?
Well, Brandon, what we have on the menu today is Vladimir Putin.
No, not that guy.
Not that freaking tool.
Whoa.
I don't know. Is he a tool?
I don't know.
Tool's like a sellout, right?
I don't really know anything about him.
I think you know what there is to know. This is not going to be a super revelatory episode where like you find out all
What
this.
does that mean again?
revealing?
Just for the viewers that
I don't even know if
what
that's a
that
word
means.
actually, but you know what? I make my own way in this world.
I don't know if I can handle you making up words.
Okay, well, I'll stop. This isn't going to reveal a lot of stuff, like shocking stuff about him that you didn't kind of already know or suspect. He's not gonna come out looking good on the other side of this. Like, oh man, I thought he was a piece of shit, but really he's an okay guy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
He's probably gonna look like more of a piece of shit.
Oh.
But it will just be interesting little tidbits.
Yeah.
I was really trying to do like a clever title for the episode, like Vladimir Putin, darn tootin', or, you know, Vladimir.
Like a rhyme?
Yeah, something. But I think what I'm going to call it is Vladimir Putin. What's his deal?
You really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
That's good. What's the deal with Vladimir Putin?
Yeah. What's the deal with Vladimir Putin?
I think a lot of Americans probably don't know much about him. I don't know hardly anything about him, except what did I used to know about him? I had heard that he was poisoning opponents, political opponents, and I have seen the photos of him like riding a horse
Shirtless.
shirtless.
All the unwanted photos of him shirtless.
A little weird. Maybe he's a little insecure or something. I don't know. Like,
Darn tootin'.
you know, a little insecure with his masculinity or something. It's a little weird. But that's all I really know, which is kind of sad because I feel like I should know more about.
No, I think you've
The
kind of
other-
hit on the main points, which is not a nice guy, doesn't fight fair, a little bit insecure. I mean, that kind of, I think, drives, and super power hungry. But what middle-aged white man politician isn't power hungry?
Well, I mean, I think it kind of goes for all of them, really, to be honest. No matter what color,
Yeah.
because there are, I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
other
That's true.
countries.
How dare I limit it to...
just
You're right.
white. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
that's fair.
Africa has had its tyrannical leaders, and
Yes.
same with, Asia.
And I gotta wonder if women would be just as bad if they had the opportunity, but we just have a majority of male rulers around the world.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I like to think not, but I have to realistically allow that there are female psychos or power hungry
Absolutely.
sociopaths. So
Yeah.
anyway, I feel like what if you supported Trump, maybe you'll know less about Putin, or you just know, maybe you think he's okay, and if you didn't support Trump, you know the main things that you said, which is, interfering in American politics, poisoning people.
I didn't say that. Because I didn't know that for sure. I think I've maybe heard a little bit about it, but didn't really.
The frustrating thing is that with any of this stuff is that I think we as regular Joe Schmoes can't really know, in quotes, like everything that we get is hearsay,
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Fabricated
it's kind of like when you have these allegations of sexual misconduct or assault or whatever. If you have a certain number over 1 or 2, you kind of go, yeah.
Well,
if you have at least 3 people, who they're saying in the news he has poisoned or his regime has poisoned or shot or whatever, you kind of go, yeah. And the fact that, anyway, I'll get into it a little bit. So first of all, when I started out doing the research, I realized how little I really knew about European geography beyond, Portugal, Spain, France,
Germany,
and Germany. I occasionally get right when I'm looking at a blank map. So I went and I did
the big ones.
the big guys. I went and I did a European geography quiz, and I'm going to keep going back to that bad boy until I get 100%, 100.
Whoa.
Because I first got 42%, and I actually felt like that was generous because it gives you 3 shots before it tells you. So that I feel like maybe that was 42% with my extra, phone friend and, whatever other things there are.
I am also terrible with geography. I think once, I know like the big ones, but once they start naming the little tiny in between bits.
Yeah. There's little, on this map, there's like little, because they're so small, they make them like little marbles in between some of the other countries.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the point? What's the point of even having you? What do you do?
You're a country?
Yeah. You're
the size of one city in the U.S.
Yeah. There's like a country in or between like Spain and or something. Anyway, and I'm like, I never even knew you were there. I lived in Spain for 6 months.
I never even knew.
I never even knew that you was there. Anyway, I think the thing about those online quizzes is it's a really fun way to do it because you just, it says the name and then you just click and it's just like, it's a fun little visual. So I didn't mind doing it. And then as you get better, you do get this feeling of satisfaction of like, and I'm cementing it in my brain. I'm a little bit smarter than I was 20 minutes ago. Because that's how long it took me to, but I just thought, man, I have no idea, especially after the Soviet Union broke up, I have no idea where these countries are or even which countries exist apart from Russia, Ukraine.
The big names.
Yeah. That came about after the breakup of the Soviet Union. I still don't know because all I was doing was then I was just obsessed with my European geography, but I didn't go look what. And there's all these kind of, I think they call them federal republics. That's within Russia. That's confusing too. Never mind. So anyway, it's just I'd like to go back and really kind of work on my geography, international geography, But then you can dive into all the capitals. Oh my gosh, and all the rivers.
Show off. All the
that
rivers,
is really my ultimate goal.
How many Starbucks they have.
Oh, that's untold. Yeah, millions. That does literally put you on a map. If you don't have a Starbucks, you're nothing. You're nothing. You're nobody. So anyway, go take a European geography quiz and
find out how depressingly uninformed you are. Like us and all other Americans.
But then get better. Then make it better.
Wherever you're from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just as bad. I have no idea.
But it's, you look at it and you go, oh, I totally thought that was I totally thought I'm not even going to say a thing that I found out about myself and my lack of knowledge because I totally thought.
I want to know.
No, I'll tell you off air, off the podcast air.
Okay.
I thought a thing was a city and it was a country and it was like an Aaron from Game Grumps moment.
What was it?
No, I'll tell you later. I literally don't want to tell these people.
Please, it's Okay, fine.
Maybe I'll put it in the description if I feel more like being vulnerable.
Because you might tell me and I might be like, wait, what? That's not a...
That won't make me feel better. It'll just make me feel less lonely. But it'll just make 2 of us possibly kind of dumb instead of just one of us.
I'm okay with feeling dumb.
No, it's kind of an important one. I'll tell you
France?
later. No, stop. Don't start guessing because then you'll be able to tell by my face turning red.
Okay.
All right. So super original name, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Yeah.
That's his middle name?
You heard it right. You heard it here, folks.
Wait, really?
Vladimirovich?
Vladimir Vladimirovich.
Vladimirovich?
Vladimirovich?
No idea.
What? That's really his middle name?
Mm-hmm.
That's so strange. That's like if my name was like Brandon Dunn.
Yeah. I actually went through that.
McDonald.
That's the exact thought that I went through as I was thinking, like, what would Brandon's equivalent dumb middle name be? Brandon Brandonald McDonald.
Or yours,
Brandon.
or anybody's.
Yeah.
It's your name twice. Why would anyone ever name their kid the same? We really like the name Vladimir, so we're going to put it in twice.
Why don't you just put Vladimir squared Putin?
Yeah, be like Elon Musk.
What?
I don't know. Isn't his kid's name like a bunch of numbers or something?
Yeah, but I forget how it's actually pronounced. Who cares?
I
Let's not
think
honor him with
the name is actually pronounced like Michael or something normal.
Yeah, I think so
but it's
too.
written crazy.
Some pretentious, eccentric, crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he was born Mr. Putin. I don't know. What do we call him? Mr.
Putin? You
President?
can just call him Putin, right?
I know, but
Isn't that what
I was
people
trying
call
to
him?
think of a funny
He was born.
title. Born October 7th, 1952. I'm just going to gloss over the main points and then I'll dive in.
He's a Libra.
Is it a Libra or Leo?
I don't know.
He's a former intelligence officer. He worked for the KGB for 16 years. His presidential terms, and I'm just going to give this summary because I feel like it's good for you to see and kind of hear like the chunks of time. He was president from 99 to 2008, and from 2012 to present. He was prime minister from 99 to 2000. I think what happened is he took over. So, I'm kind of confused about that timeline.
So I think that's another thing Americans won't understand is that Russia has both president and prime minister. Yeah. I think most countries have either or.
I'm not sure because I think Japan might have president and prime minister.
Japan has emperor and prime minister. And I think emperor is sort of like the UK's queen.
Are you sure that Japan doesn't also have a president? Because
Japan does not have a president.
Oh, you're right. I looked it up on it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if other countries have that. I mean,
Well, I was going to say that it's kind of similar to maybe how the UK is with the queen, how they have a prime minister, but they also have the queen, the royal family, but they're just sort of like figureheads.
They're figureheads, but the president has actual power. President and the prime minister.
That's what I'm saying basically about Japan and how they're...
Oh, gotcha.
How they have their emperor.
I gotcha.
But yeah, it doesn't really make sense to have a president and a prime minister.
Well, it really doesn't make sense in Russia because... at this point, at least, Putin has made it so he has control of everybody. So there's no point. There's no actual checks and balances.
So right now, is he the president?
Yes.
And do they have a prime minister?
Yes.
And who is that?
I don't know if it's the Moldav guy. Who is Russia? I got confused, and there was just a lot that I would I kept kind of going down rabbit holes. Russian prime minister. Oh, no, it's not.
Mikhail Mishustin.
So he's only been the prime minister since 2020.
Is that pronounced Michael?
Mikhail? No, I think it's Mikhail because Gorbachev was prime minister or president of the Soviet Union. Okay. And Mikhail Gorbachev.
Okay.
At least that's how Americans say it. Oh, lost my place. So Putin was prime minister somehow. A lot of this is from Wikipedia, from 99 to 2000, and then he was like in between his presidential terms, he was prime minister from 2008 to 2012. As of now, he is the second longest serving European president after Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus, which made me wonder about their level of corruption because that guy's been president since 1994 and is still president. In 1991, Putin resigned from the KGB to begin his political career in St. Petersburg, which is formerly Leningrad, which Billy Joel did a song about. It's really good. On the, I think it was the Stormfront album. Good song. He joined the administration of Boris Yeltsin. Yeltsin was the president from 91 to 99, so immediately after or right at the beginning of the breakup of the Soviet Union. And Putin was appointed prime minister in August 1999. Don't laugh at me. So I don't know much about Boris Yeltsin. Do you? He seemed like he had a very square head.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
I thought that maybe he was a good president. I think maybe compared to Putin, he was, but I think a lot of Russians apparently perceived him as weak. I think he was also an alcoholic. He resigned kind of suddenly as the president, and Putin kind of succeeded
more weak
him.
Government leaders,
kind of, like
quote unquote weak.
My impression of Russia is they are a very, not that this is unique, a very proud people. They value, and maybe this is why I've always kind of admired them, is they seem like a very stoic, strong, disciplined people, apart from maybe their vodka ingestion, which is not rigid or
well, and it's kind of like
regimented.
Every other country. Every country has their alcohol problem.
Do they?
Pretty much, don't they?
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought there was
more. That's all.
So after Yeltsin resigned, Putin became acting president, and then he was elected outright in his first...
Wasn't Yeltsin grooming
Yeah, he
him?
wanted Putin to be his successor, but I'm not sure. The impression that I get from people who are in power in Russia, or maybe in communist countries, or maybe just in every freaking government of every country, is maybe you get in there with kind of lofty, noble goals about helping people and improving the country and the standard of living and all this stuff. And then they just get used to the power, and then they want to tweak things and be naming who their successor is, even though it's supposed to be a somewhat democratic form of government.
An absolutely democratic form of government. They vote. So they absolutely
depending on what your definition of voting is.
They have ballots that the citizens fill out.
Yeah.
And they it's like here.
Yeah. So Putin, I guess, made some quote about communism, and that it was just like he was just dissing on it, and it was like, oh, okay, so that doesn't necessarily mean he's a fan of democracy, but I think maybe, I don't know, maybe there was just less freedom for him to acquire wealth in a communist. I don't know. Anyway, so he did this thing where in April of 2021...
Okay, no, wait.
I should have put more spaces between my notes. He signed into law a constitutional change that would allow him to run for re-election twice more after his two... Because they have a limit to 2 terms as well. So he could run for re-election twice more subsequently. Because there was no, at least at the time that he was elected...
They have a flimsy constitution.
There's no checks. There's no one to say, there's a reason the Constitution exists, and you have to have like a parliamentary vote or, whatever. But the thing is that they're all controlled by him. Man. So there were no term no limits to how many terms you could serve as president, but you couldn't serve more than 2
in a row
sequentially. Yeah. Is that the right word?
Sequentially, I think is right.
Subsequent terms. So that's why he took a break.
He took a break because he had to.
He took a break to be prime minister. So he and the guy who was prime minister at the time just switched roles. And essentially, I think just had the same power.
How stupid.
Yeah. So then in April of, I guess, this year, he signed into law this constitutional change that would allow him to run for re-election twice more. It's like, at that point, why limit it? Because you don't want to outright look like a dictator, and you think you might be old enough at that point that you wouldn't want to be president anymore. So he could potentially be president to 2036.
Maybe he has a hint of human in him that maybe makes him think for future generations having just one leader is maybe not the best thing for Russia.
I bet it's not that. I bet it's that he thinks that if I say more than 2 at this point, more than 2 additional subsequent terms, there's going to be outright like riots, because it's clearly not democracy.
So we watched a video on it, and every Russian practically that wasn't kissing Putin's ass completely, every normal Russian was saying like, we need, what was it, like variation or something?
Turnover, not
need,
turnover, but yeah.
We need options, like
Yeah.
they all were practically saying we don't want the same guy for the rest of our lives. We need
just this
fresh blood,
common
is what they were
sense of
saying.
like no one should be president for a very long time.
Forever, yeah.
But I feel like that was still a very watered down, like hedging way to say he shouldn't be president for a long time. Because I just definitely that he controls the media. So, because when we watched these snippets of these Russian citizens, it was like, wow, they're as dumb as or dumber than us,
Just
because
as
it's
dumb. I would
it's
say as
kind of
dumb.
it's like watching, Trump supporters being interviewed.
Some of them were smart, though. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like if you interview people on the streets of America, it's like you have the people that are completely oblivious but want to make their opinion known.
Yeah.
And you have people that are smarter that are more quiet.
Yeah. Well, I think usually smarter, more balanced people accept that they don't know everything. And so their language is more fence city and like, well, I don't have everything, at my fingertips, or I don't know all the facts, and
But
you
that's
can't
okay
trust.
That's okay to be.
Yeah.
It's okay to be like
But
that.
a lot of people want you to like, okay, fucking pick a side or be more assertive. But it's like, well, but I gotta admit, I don't know everything. So, but when I first was watching
Look
some
before
of
you
these,
leap. What's
right?
Why is nobody looking before they leap?
Yeah, it's like an age-old idiom, saying, "Look before you leap."
There were quite a few people in that video of Russians being interviewed about Putin and what they think of him that were kind of visibly fearful about talking about how they didn't like him. Mm-hmm. Like one guy was like, somebody said, or the interviewer said, "Do you like Putin, or is Putin good?" Mm-hmm. And the guy was like, "No." And there was a pause, and the guy was like, "Do you mean yes?" He was like,
well, because
yes.
he looked nervous, and he was like, and I didn't know if it was like a little joke, like
Maybe
an understanding joke between them. Yeah,
Like,
but initially I thought, these people are kind of dumb. Like I just thought Russians were more informed, but that they were just fearful or just being oppressed. But it was like
it was just randos on the street.
But also, if the media is controlled by Putin, it's like people in North Korea. I mean, or here. If you watch Fox News and you think that is news and that they can't lie to you or hide things or emphasize certain things over other things, like you're going to be, your opinions and your quote unquote knowledge are going to be colored by that. And they are completely state-controlled media. Charlie.
I was wondering if that was my stomach at first or if it was Chuck snoring.
No.
Okay.
So I think they just partly, unless they go seeking out, other news sources.
Because you can, in foreign countries, get a whatever VPN, foreign VPN or something. I forget. I don't know how it works, but you're acting as though you're in a different country, so you can access foreign news and foreign media.
But can you get that if you are in a country that controls?
Yes.
Because, can you do that in China?
I think it's illegal, but yes, you can get access to it. And
they can't lock that down? Because I got the impression, with China...
I think they try to, but I don't know enough about it.
Okay.
But...
Keep slapping that thing.
Sorry, it's just fun to slap.
Can you just put it somewhere else? Can you put it away?
Okay, fine. Fine.
Put it in your desk or I'm taking it away.
We'll just do what you want to do.
Yeah, the podcast that we both agreed to do. Okay. So in 2012, he supposedly got 64% of the popular vote or electoral vote. I'm not really exactly sure how it works, if it's like an electoral kind of college thing. Anyway, in 2018, he apparently got 76%. But that's really in question based on the level of election fraud that just the snippets that we saw. So the thing that was interesting to me is that they had videos, and who knows where they came from. First of all, they have one video that Stephen Colbert had talked about that I hadn't seen, where they're counting ballots. First of all, they're dumping ballots on a table with multiple people counting them, like it's fucking middle school.
A little bit, like counting your Halloween candy or something.
And then as they're doing that, this lady who I think was the site supervisor or something, walks down
toward the camera,
comes back and walks out of view. And instead of her coming back into view, you see a bunch of big multicolored colored balloons covered the camera.
Deliberately, very
Like,
obviously putting balloons.
What am I watching? This is like a Benny Hill or something. Like, I was just waiting for like clown horns or music.
It's pretty fucking pathetic because it's a lot like the shit that goes on in America.
Yeah. But the thing that the thing that I thought was weird is that like they would have these in some of the other videos, these like distractions that would like get the election monitors kind of out of the room or away, and then or they'd be like helping people, but they'd like take their single ballot and then they'd come back with like a handful of ballots and like stuff them in the box.
I mean, you couldn't inform your people as like a former KGB agent. You couldn't inform your people that have to be cheating on your behalf, probably from your say-so. You don't have a way to, like, get the cameras to go blurry,
right?
Like, stick a magnet to them or something.
You can supposedly hack the U.S. multiple times.
Yeah.
But you can't hack your own cameras.
But your hacking of the cameras is to move balloons in the way, very obviously. It's very strange.
It's very, like, Looney Tunes or something. I don't know.
But that could have just been someone acting on their own. That could have just been them acting on their own. Because there were people in the States that were acting on their own account.
Yeah.
To get more votes for Trump or
yeah. But they definitely weren't being discouraged by Trump or the Republicans. I mean, but the weird... No,
because they were too focused on the other side. And if you see what the media sources are giving out, it's like all bad stuff about the left. So the right wasn't even hearing about this bad stuff that the right was doing, just like the left does. You never hear about the bad shit the left is doing. It's all, super biased, super separated, and super fabricating shit to make your side look like it's, it's the good side.
Right. What I thought was interesting is that I feel like it's a lot harder to fabricate ballots. Like you couldn't just have, right? I don't know. Maybe it depends on the state. But my impression, my hope is that there seemed to be so much control over, tracking of ballots, one ballot per person. Like I think they caught a couple people who there were discrepancies, but it was very few. Like it seems like it's really hard here to just have extra ballots from like made up people or...
Doesn't every ballot have like a barcode? And also, I think like...
It's not like you have a bunch of pieces of paper that have a checkbox that people check the, box next to Putin and you don't then tie them back to like citizens.
Well, it's weird that people think that is how it works, considering that they probably voted. So why do you think that that's how it works?
But it must work that way in Russia for that to work.
Unless everyone counting's also lying, and it just doesn't matter.
It just seems weird to be able to come back with a stack of additional ballots and they're not. Like, you're not going to go through and go, well, this is clearly fake because it doesn't tie up with this barcode or this individual who's already voted over here. Like,
if the numbers aren't tied to
what
humans,
kind of elections are these? Like, what kind of system do you have? Like, why bother?
Or if they are tied to people that aren't registered. If they would register people that they know exist but didn't vote necessarily, and they tie those numbers to those people, which is entirely possible.
But how could you track that they didn't vote on the day of the election? Like, you wouldn't know that those people weren't going to...
You could just toss their vote then. I don't really know.
I think there's just enough of a question there that, on that level of the ballots, that just immediately screams, red flag.
I'm a dumb man.
So, no, you're not.
I'm a dumbo when it comes to this kind of shit. I don't have the attention span for it. And
how do you know, how can you possibly know or spend the time and effort to look into election processes of all these different countries?
It's so boring.
Yeah, I guess it's not boring because, to me, in this case at least, because it's drama, because he's defrauding people. He's rigging an election.
I just meant the general process of
the logistics. Yeah. No, I get that. I do. Anyway, so unsurprisingly, under Putin's leadership, Russia has experienced democratic backsliding. Experts do not generally consider Russia to be a democracy, citing jailing of political opponents, purges, and curtailing press freedom and the lack of free and fair elections. Yeah, I think we've covered that. So I didn't realize when I first read his like early kind of biography or stats or whatever.
Who's?
Putin.
Okay.
That he's essentially an only child. I mean, he's basically an only child. So it said he was the youngest of 3 children.
That's
but
why
they
he's
both.
such a...
Yeah,
I'm
could be. So,
but
it could be because
sure
that was immediately something I was looking for.
I'm sure there are only childs, only children's, only child. Only child.
You had a moment like this last episode.
It's just when the English doesn't add up, I can't.
Oh, it's English's problem.
It is. Anyway.
You're right.
Not all only childs are bad. I'm sure.
No, you're right. You're right. So I thought this guy's either going to be a middle child of like 6 or 7 children, 7, or he's going to be an only child, because I just wanted there to be something in his early life that would be immediately like, aha, that's why you're fucked up.
Like he was abused or something?
I don't know. So I think he had like his 2 brothers died like really young, like babies. So that was kind of sad.
But how old was he when they passed?
I think very young, because he was the youngest.
I don't know if that would affect you.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think that's... I mean...
I think that's why they were young enough that he's essentially an only child when they died. So
that's hard on the parents, man.
Yeah. His grandfather was a personal cook to Vladimir Lenin, the Russian revolutionary and politician, and Joseph Stalin, who ruled the Soviet Union from 27 to 53. I thought that was kind of cool. His parents seemed normal looking, you know. Dad's pretty handsome.
The mom looks just like him.
Yeah.
He looks just like his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of show her profile on the Wikipedia page, and I feel like maybe the nose and lips or something. I don't know.
It's kind of strange. And his dad's pretty handsome.
His dad was very handsome, I thought. But then I saw a picture of him older. You know, I think it was a hard life. I just don't think those times were really great for anyone in the world.
Like the 30s or something?
Yeah. Let's see. I forget what it said. His dad. Did it say his dad died? How they died? Well, I mean, the fact that his brothers both died very young. I mean, they didn't probably have obviously great medical care. Victor, his brother, died of diphtheria.
What's that?
During the siege of Lenin. I'm not sure.
That's okay.
Anyway, that was during World War II. His mom was a factory worker. That cannot have been good. They did not have great labor laws, you know, I'm sure.
Maybe lost some fingies.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
or
some
just
toesies.
Always had to work. I don't know. Some fingies and toesies. So he started practicing Sambo. Have you ever heard of that? This is Putin. Back to Putin. It's a Soviet martial art.
Sambo.
Uh-huh.
That's a very goofy name. I don't know. I've never heard of it. Sambo.
I think isn't it also like a name for, like a derogatory name for a black person? Because
really?
Were those the dolls? What are the dolls? Sambo. Yeah, they used to have restaurants. So I think Sambo is a character in I might be getting confused. Let's see. Sambo, is it Uncle Tom's Cabin? I mean, you know Uncle Tom.
Oh, is that what that what is it, expression is from?
Uncle Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think Uncle Tom was kind of like
little known black history fact.
He was kind of like a martyr, but not a strong, you know, not standing up for his people. Sold out their race. And Sambo is kind of they're saying actually Sambo better fits the characteristics we often describe to Uncle Tom. Sambo is like a kind of one of the leaders of the slaves, so he's kind of like perpetuating what the slave owners are doing to the slaves, like a foreman, but he, you know, like
sort of like
enforcing.
Sort of like Uncle Ruckus.
I don't know
of
who that is.
Have you ever seen the Boondocks?
No.
Oh.
Is that the animated
Yeah.
show? Okay.
Yeah, there's this character named Uncle Ruckus who is like a seriously reverse racist. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
So he, like,
It's
a
pretty fucked up.
self-hating?
Yeah.
Really? Is that show not supposed to be a comedy?
It's a comedy, but I mean it's kind of like, you know, has some kind of serious stuff in it too.
Interesting. That's pretty heavy. That's like a heavy seeming theme.
Well, I mean they made him like a fucking idiot alongside that, of course. So it's like he's kind of funny in his own weird way, but it's like just kind of
I would think of a Sambo as being like Samuel L. Jackson in Django Unchained.
Yeah, that too.
Like, but so when I first saw that, I was like, oh, please tell me this is not a, but actually it's a Soviet martial art. It's kind of like wrestling.
What an unfortunate name.
Yeah. So anyway, he's a big fan of Sambo and Judo, and he still practices both.
Well, I know judo.
Yeah.
And
You know Judo? Show me some moves.
Okay. Later.
How convenient.
I don't actually know. But judo is like a form of wrestling from Japan.
Okay, so he likes the wrestling
I don't know if
arts.
it's wrestling or just like using your opponent's body to like throw your opponent around.
Yeah, he definitely liked to be caught on camera throwing people around and like dominating in the ring or whatever.
What a
on the mat.
I'm sorry, but what a gross little man.
He
like you're so insecure with yourself.
He likes to project this
Tough guy.
this outdoorsy tough guy, loves being captured with his shirt off, which is super special for all of us. Ever heard of the man's ear, buddy? You know what I'm saying?
The man's ear? No, it's called the bro.
Well,
Come on.
I had to just go with one, okay?
Yeah, I know.
He supposedly studied law at the Leningrad State University, but decided to go work for the KGB to be a spy instead.
I mean, isn't that enough?
What?
He was a fucking spy. He was in the KGB. That's so fucking cool. He could just be like, what?
You just said that, and I feel like it was not a socially acceptable thing to say.
I mean, that's... let me backtrack
That's
a little bit.
so cool.
It's cool because, you know,
Yeah.
why does he have to do all this other weird shit to make him look like an insecure little man?
Thing about
It's like,
insecure...
bro, you were a fucking spy.
The thing about
so
insecure
cool.
people is that it never stops. You know?
Yeah.
I just pulled that out of my ass. I don't know if that's true. I think unless you go have intensive therapy, though, it never stops. You know?
Yeah,
and maybe
that's
because
true.
every time he walks, you know, through the ranks of his men, you know, there's always coughs of like, shorty, or something like that. You know, the Russian equivalent.
Or baldy.
Uh-huh. And then when he
locks.
turns around, everyone's just straight faced, so he can't ever figure out who it
they're
is.
all in on it.
Right. So
I love this fantasy
Yeah.
world we've created.
So it's just like a ripple down the line as he walks. So he's just always having to prove himself.
It's weird though.
Yeah, it is weird.
And
Ugh.
like his tigers and stuff.
Well, they said that he is somewhat passionate about protecting certain kind of what would you call them? Not like mascots, but like Russian, you know, maybe threatened animals. Like there's some
ironic.
tiger, there's
Because the tiger that he rescued and then released went out to kill a couple Russian brown bears.
but maybe the brown bears aren't endangered.
I don't know.
Maybe the tiger is endangered.
That's true.
But it wasn't a trophy hunt. I mean, I think we were ready to assume, oh, he's going to shoot a tiger, but it was like they were tranquilizing it to move it.
They definitely showed...
It was probably just a PR
They definitely
video,
showed
though.
it in that video, like he was shooting the tiger, but he was just tranking it.
I'm sure it was like a PR move. Like, get the president out here to be a part of this, you know, procedure where we move this tiger because it'll show that he's like passionate about wildlife and stuff. And maybe he is. And tigers are a symbol of strength and cunning and speed. So it kind of makes sense that a guy like him is going to be picking, you know, he's probably not going to be like passionate about like a mongoose or a duck-billed platypus or something like that, you know, strong, sleek creatures, I'm sure. I mean, we've got this guy figured out.
Strong like me.
Strong like me, but with less moves. Sorry, fewer moves. In 1999, this is the quote, he described communism as a blind alley far away from the mainstream of civilization, which is so ironic because clearly he is the poster child for civilization, the main advocate, a champion of civilization. What the fuck are you even talking about, bro?
Yeah, bro.
You're a fucking dictator.
Yeah.
You dictator.
Wow.
Anyway, so I don't know. I wrote all these notes and there's just so much. He's a corrupt individual. But
what is something we wouldn't know?
Well, something I didn't know, I don't know how I missed it, is that Oliver Stone, the famed he doesn't make documentaries.
Interviewer?
What would you call the kind of movies that he makes? They're fictional.
I have no idea.
But they're fictional, but they're based on fact. They're not documentaries, and they're not, I don't know what you would call them. They're not exposés. So he did JFK, he did W, which I have not watched. My dad really likes JFK. Like, he kind of refers back to it a lot. He did Natural Born Killers, but I think that also was based on a real couple. But he had these interviews with Putin. I think it was in 2014 or 2015 and 2017. He had 4 interviews, or maybe there were 4 episodes. And
okay.
They said he just was kind of softballing the questions. He wasn't
hardballing the questions.
Exactly.
He wasn't even medium hardballing the questions.
He was balling Putin.
He was basically bootlicking.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. And maybe it's just that he is a self-hating American, I think, is the conclusion I came to. I didn't watch the interviews.
Some of the questions seemed kind of direct when I was watching parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
They seemed a little direct and a little like, oh, you're asking him that. Oh, but
that was supposed to be the point of the interviews, but he didn't follow up. Even I was watching them and I'm like, Putin just answered you through an interpreter and you just kind of nodded and went, okay. Or
maybe he was afraid to push it.
Then there's no point to doing interviews with this guy.
He is a dictator. Don't forget.
But you're an American, and the guy has agreed to be interviewed by you.
That's true.
And if he's not going to be forthright with you, or you're not going to drill down...
Well, you also have to remember that he might stop talking to you. You might lose your interview. But
there's no point in doing this, much hyped set of interviews...
If you're not getting
this
the crucial
kind of
information.
Not forthcoming leader who's not transparent and who's alleged to be extremely corrupt, if he's just going to give you what he wants the world or his country to see, there's no point. Don't even give him the airtime. So what Putin has done, which is very telling, is he released these interviews, this footage, this movie, whatever it is. I think it's ultimately a film. He released it in Russia unedited, uncut. There's no Russia cut and America cut. So there was nothing uncomplimentary that he saw that needed to be taken out, which just says a lot in and of itself. So
that it wasn't a proper interview, I guess.
That he just, I think maybe Stone wanted to have a go at a journalistic type of endeavor, and he just was not, multiple articles said he's not a good interviewer. He didn't kind of press on questions that any other journalist who really was a journalist would have pressed on. He kind of seemed like he maybe looked up to him, or he was ready to just accept that Putin was much maligned by the West, but really the West, especially America, is so corrupt itself that he was ready to believe that the U.S., lied or misrepresented things about Putin. I think he ultimately didn't believe that Putin interfered in the 2016 presidential election. He asked Putin to be his daughter's godfather.
That's weird.
What she said is when Putin said, is she Orthodox Christian? Stone said, we'll make her Orthodox. And it was like, what the fuck?
What?
Yeah.
What a freak.
I don't know if that was a joke, but it's just weird. So
I don't know if you joke with Putin, though. I mean, especially when you don't know Russian and you have an interpreter.
Yeah.
I don't think you joke.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if it's obvious that you're laughing, but then it's like, so what's the answer? Mm-hmm. You know, that's weird.
Yeah, it just seemed weird because I was really interested and I was going to go watch it and be like, oh, this is going to be like hard hitting, like, like expose or whatever. And it just sounds like it wasn't. And maybe I should go back and watch it anyway before I develop an opinion. But
Just a bunch of fluff.
I just don't know if I want to spend that time. So it kind of just seemed clear. The consensus was that Stone admired Putin, and it just seemed unfortunate that he was the one who ended up interviewing him and then releasing this film of the interviews.